Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. It's Alan Smith, and I've been promising you something very special, those of you who are into Warhammer 40k. Now, about a month ago, I was able to snag a highly coveted book. This book. Yes, it is first edition Warhammer 40k. This is the book I started the whole wargaming trail down, and it's a nice investment too. These have been appreciating at 5 to 10% a year as the copies get scarcer and scarcer. So if you're a big Warhammer 40k guy, I would definitely start collecting the old rule books. Now this winter I'm going to start searching for the second edition, and I'm going to collect all the editions. And something I've been toying with here is even some of the older editions of the big box games and even the boutique rules. I would like to over time collect the older editions of these rule sets. Now here we are. I have another area here in the studio where I can film top downs for rule flip throughs. I'm going to start covering some and making some commentary on the War Games Illustrated, War Games Soldier and Strategy magazine, and that's going to be some new content to the channel. So without further ado, let's look through this. Now, there's nothing out there that I have found on YouTube and the Ethernets that show you what the old book is like, and we're going to do a flip through today, and it's going to be interesting. This you'll see the whole different style of the type of rules that we're looking at here. Now let's go to our top-down camera, and you can see here the amazing artwork we're getting on this rule book. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You can see the complexity of it here. The whole almost like a cartoon style, right? Almost like a comic book style theme to this book. So here's the name we're looking at right here. This is what makes this book so valuable. Not only that, this was really the precursor to new modern wargaming books and rule sets. And what grabbed my attention when I went to my first gaming store, right? And Rick Priestley, right here, right? And I want to point out something here that I really like, and I wish the newer companies would do this, where the pages are not glossy. That glossiness really hurts your eyes, but you can see here we've got a nice flat thing, and you can see a continuance of the front cover artwork and how amazing it is. Just classic. I mean, I was so excited when this book came in from the UK. It only has one little flaw we'll point out here. It's still in excellent condition, which makes this book very valuable. If it was in perfect condition, it would be worth over $2,000. Okay, so again, Rick Priestley. You can see here it's just got a split bind right in the front part, and I'm thinking when I had my book back in the late 90s, I'm sorry, late 80s, mine did the same thing, right? So this was you know, the dawn of a new era with these rule books, right? Really up to that, you just had and I showed on other videos the little kind of just like rule booklets that you had back in the 70s, right? But here it says this is the second imprint. The first imprint was like very few copies. They were distributed amongst some clubs. 1987, okay, 1987, John Cibic. There's your proof of authenticity. And we're going to flip through, and you can see the whole. Just when I look through this, this is only the second time I've looked through this book, guys. and it's sat over here on my bookshelf. I've been tied up with other other things. Let's put it that way. It's been a tough 2020, hasn't it? Yes, it has. It's been a tough 2020. So, goodbye 2020. Cheers to 2021. We're almost there, boys. A couple more months. Hopefully 2021 will be much better for all of us. A nice little Zinfandel. Oh, not too sweet, not too dry. So we got our combat, battle at the farm, and introductory scenario. We got equipment, right? We got the Age of the Imperium, right? And then we're going to go down through all the different types of the Eldar race and the craft words Orc space and the Orc domains, the ancient Slann and their inheritance, Tyranids, and the hive fleets, Zotes. Okay, so there you go. We're going to go run down that. The Advanced Gamer, a selection of rules and information. Right, we got the Advanced Game Master, extended battles and campaigns, plot generator, collecting and painting your forces, something that Holy Diver touched on a few videos back. Collecting and painting your forces. I think that's something important that all rule companies and gaming companies should have that somewhere in the book towards the back, especially for new modelers and gamers. Modeling and scenic painting. All right, and then a summary, you got play sheet, which is a data sheet, radius templates, GM's handout, Marine brief handbook, Orc brief handbook, encounters. Right? But here is the repeat of the front cover artwork. Let's see if we can get that in just at the perfect height there so you guys can see everything good. I've got this on my HD Sony camera, so it should be coming really through really good for you guys. But the definition, the clarity of the print is very, very good for 1987 technology. But you can see here how this is laid out. It's the font is a little on the small side, right, compared to a lot of the newer rule systems. But just black and white pictures of the dice that you'll need to play the game, right? Now we get into some color photos. Now this is old school, right? Now we're going all new school here in the studio with the cloth mats over the hills, so you don't see these hills and features like that. That's, you know, this is 87 technology, right? I pushed that, I think, to the limits here previously in my videos where I had the foam hills. I got the foam cutter and all that, and the sanding the foam, and then painting it, and etc., flocking it. Well, no more of that. We're just going to lay down the hills, which will still be foam for the most part, and we'll just lay the cloth over them. But you can see here, this is what I had. I had a couple bags of lichen, right? The old crappy lichen. It works good for like futuristic space games like this. You know, getting some plants and things from like the you know, aquarium store and shit like that. Right? So that's what I had, you know, and I had like a little box of rocks, right? I think, by God, I still have them. I have them in there's a wood box I have that has some of my old Warhammer scenery in there. I think I stumbled onto it the other day. I didn't open it up, but I think that's what's in there. So, yeah, I mean, just making your own homemade rivers and stuff out of cardboard, right? And here are some more, you know, amazing artwork. Troop characteristics, fighting characteristics, personnel characteristics. See here it says chapter of the Dark Brotherhood. Now we're getting to some of the models, and I've been promising you a flip through of the old Eldar that I have in my collection in my display case. I will pull those out for you guys, I promise, now that we're getting some free time to go back to the 40k content. I'll showcase some of those for you here in an upcoming video. Now you got the robots. Now what I did, as you've seen in another video with the orcs, is that I just bought some BattleTech robots, you know, some pewter BattleTech robots. But you see some of these old models, man. I would love to find those on eBay and collect them. These are like frog dudes. These must be, oh, these are the Slan. Do they even have Slan anymore? I'll have to dig through the new rule book and see. I've lost track of it. I haven't played in so many years. But for you guys that are really heavy into the lore and the history of the game, here you go. It's right here in front of you. But I'm telling you, if you guys are the 40k guys, you got to find this book. It's going to be expensive. I'm not going to lie. This is the hardback. The softback's a couple $100, $150. Hardbacks are hard to find and they're expensive. All right, but it's an investment. It's going to go up in value every year. It's just like anything. All right, unit coherence. All right, so we still had the unit coherence concept. All right. Look at this dude. He's got the bolts from the bolters. You know, he's just flying right through him. So we're just going to flip right on through. Here's going through the whole combat. Right? You've got your combat and your this would be your damage if you hit. Right? Weapon strength, target's toughness. Any Games Workshop, even if it's fantasy, you're familiar with this concept. We've got range, basic modifiers, weapon modifiers, which are very basic, which Games Workshop was really bad about that as these editions went on, including fantasy. It became very modifier heavy and to the point where it was almost ridiculous. It was so hard to keep track of all the modifiers, right? Not a good part of any rule set that I have found. Okay, so we're flipping through, and yeah, I mean, this is just, I love it. The memories, right? I used to go through this book. I keep it in my book bag. It was on campus. I had some downtime. I would go through this and go through it, and I was hooked big time, man. We played this a lot at the fraternity house, and then when I moved back to Columbus, I played a lot with my friends from high school. Right, so wow, just the book is in such good condition. There's no staining. I flipped through every page and I haven't found any spills, no stains. The corners are just barely bent in, this corner and this corner, and that's not even that bad. There's just that split on that front opening, right? I'll make sure we're staying in the shot here good for you guys. But you can see the layout is actually quite nice. I mean, by today's standard, it's very basic. But again, I'll point out there's not the slicky pages, and these pages are the thickness of the page is perfect. It folds over easy. You can tell the guy used this a little bit and it got put away somewhere. This was sold by the UK Heart Association. I'm sure it was part of an estate sale, more than likely, and the person must have died of some heart-related illness because his widow or his family donated all these things to be sold and auctioned as part of a charity, right? Which is really cool. And I get to relive this, and I'm going to pass it on. My son was here visiting a few weeks back, and he took interest in this. He took a picture of it on his cell phone to send to his friends, and I said, hey, I'm going to catalog everything, and this is going to be on the catalog and what its value at today's date, at this year's valuation, right? And what percentage he's a finance guy, so he'll know what valuation to assign to things. So that's another aspect of this hobby, guys, the collecting aspect. It's huge. If you're building and putting time into your figures and you're collecting the rule sets, even these old rule sets, don't get rid of them, keep them. These old rule sets over time, guys, you may be 25 today, but when you're 55 like me, those old rule sets are going to bring some money if you ever would need it in an emergency. And just the fact that you have assets that you're accumulating over time with your hobby, right? These are assets. Dreadnought suits. Okay, so we're still into combat. Okay, let me pull down a little bit here. Maybe go back on the shot just a little bit. So we're still in combat, the combat paragraph. So we got Dreadnought Suit rating, where you make a roll, it looks like a die 12. You get a power loss, loss of coordination, systems failure, control loss, and if you roll a 12, bang, I guess your power suit blows up. I guess those would be like the Terminators. I got some of the old Terminators I showed you when I highlighted the Space Marines. Here's robots. I just went with whatever robot I liked, right, at the time. So we're still in combat. Psionics. Okay, so we still had psionics back in version 1. See, and here's where that split carries over. That's the only 2 spots where the binding is set, but it's still very solid. It's still glue. There's still glue in there, so it's holding very firm. So I got a great buy, you know, and I'm gonna hold on to this. Mutants, right? It kind of reminds me, if I pull out and compared this with one of my old Dungeons and Dragons rule books of the 80s era, very, very similar, right? Very, very similar. The types, the font size, the font type, all the information that's packed in, right? Here we go, more mutants, right? Points values. Okay, so we got point values for the weapons. So we got bolt gun, bow, crossbow, flamer, shotgun, you know, all the way down close combat, heavy weapons, very heavy weapons, grenades, mines, support. Now we come to a new section of the rule book, the battle at the farm. This again is going to be like a scenario that would come with most rule sets these days. It's giving you the setup. Here's the map. Top view. Here's an example of what it would look like with your homemade scenery. And here we go. They're going to walk you through a sample battle, all in black and white, old school. Right, there's some of the same orc figures. I've got these that I showcased in my orc. I came with the original orc kit, starter kit. All right, now we're getting into equipment. Alright, crossbow, bolter, classic. Cheers to old bolters. Close weapons. There are other different types of hand equipment. So we're looking at the power swords, the regular swords. They've got a force rod here. There we go, Rogue Trader, right? It is very Dungeons and Dragonish, isn't it? Even the art style. I wonder how many of these guys possibly were hired to do some of the artwork in this book. Also did artwork in the early D&D rule books, right? It's got a very similar aesthetic. Heavy plasma cannon gun. So we got that on one of my minis I've showcased. There's your classic rocket launcher, guys. I've got some of those on my Space Marines. Multi-laser, right? Grenades and missiles. You see the comic book style here. Mines. Weapon summary, the old weapons chart. I remember having this in a little slicky years and years and years ago. God only knows what's happened to that. Vehicle profiles, right? One of the different types of frontages, side armor things for in the turret arc for your vehicles. So we're going to probably get introduced to the early Rhino, right? Classic. Look at this, right? Total D&D right there. That could be like a picture of a wizard, right? Out of the original Dungeons Master's Guide. Right. Here's some orcs. Right. Now, I think I did find when I was doing some research on this book, there's Games Workshop has some of this artwork available you can buy as a print, right, and then have framed. Now they'll put them in a frame for you, or you can just have the print and then take it to, like, what I'm going to do with some of my stuff is just take to Hobby Lobby and just have them do the simple black trim frame with the plexiglass, so it's not so heavy, right, on the front. Oh, here we go. Here's our classic Land Raider. Okay, first sightings of Land Raider, guys. Here it is, rule book number 1, 1987. There's your speeder, 2-person speeder. You got some old walkers, right? I have a walker, 2 walker robots that are controlled by a radio control with a Space Marine that I showed you guys. Here we go, the breakdown of how power armor works, right? That's really cool. That would be great to have as a print, right? Get a print of that. We're still in equipment. The Age of the Imperium, Bionics, right? But yeah, no stains. Just one loose, slightly loose page so far, in 2 splits, in the middle and the front. The Imperium. So we got your fluff here. We're getting into the fluff. But I'm just blown away by this artwork. I love this pencil sketch style, right? Even if you could just get little small prints and do assorted prints in just one little area of your gaming area, your gaming room. All right. Here, this is like the Dark Emperor. He's all plugged in like what's that movie where you get red pilled? You know what I'm talking about, where you're plugged in. You're plugged into the board. Oh yeah, this one now. If I saw on their website they do have some of these old prints, but I would highly recommend if someone from GW stumbles onto this, an employee, I'd be probably thinking about releasing an entire series of these prints for sale, because there's a lot of guys out here who would love to have these as prints, right? And I'm pretty sure the ones that I was looking at, you could select the size of the print, right? So you can just do, like I said, you could do like a print collage in just like one area, you know, just be something really nice to do. Tell your wife you're going to put it in the master bathroom. You're going to do a print collage of all the early Warhammer 40k prints, right? That'll go over like a lead balloon. Unless she, of course, is a 40k fanatic. Look at this one. Dude's shooting this, looks like an orc in the head, right? Now what's this? And they shall know no fear, right? Wow. Whole complex. The Fortress Monastery of the Space Wolves, right? You Space Wolves fans, well, how good would that be to just have this on as a print? Old school. We got some more artwork here. Huh? How cool. Just, now this is one that I put up on my Facebook group several weeks ago. I took a photo of this. How cool is that? The old chapters, right? The assassins. There we go. There's that split. I don't know if there's any repairing that. I think I can buy what's called book tape, and it's like a fiber tape, and I would put that down where the other split is. That may be what I do with that loose page, where it's kind of loose towards the top. I'll have to get on Amazon and look for that. It's called book repair tape. Right. Nice. It looks like we're getting into some of the factions. Age of Imperium. This is a lot of fluff. Here's the classic, you know, fighting characteristics laid out just the way that it is to this day, right? Just the models have gotten better, right? The castings have gotten better. Now Games Workshop is at the pinnacle. The detail on their models is just amazing. You gotta, at least right now, the soft plastic just ain't cutting it, guys. You gotta use that hard plastic. It's a high injection molding technology, and it really gets a lot of fine details and very, very little flash, right? That's what I'm finding with this new Warhammer 40k kit, starter kit. And here you go, the classic orcs, right? I really like how the artist on this one, I like the lighter yellowish contrast, see, on the tops of the heads and the tops of the arms. I think that's really nice. That works really, really well. If I were going to repaint some orcs, green-skinned orcs, I would definitely try to copy that paint scheme, because I really think that's a great effect, right? All right, more orcs. But look at these sketches, man. It's just, I would love to know who this artist is. I'll have to go back into the contents and the credits at the front of the book and look at who some of the artists are here when we finish with this flip through. All right, classic book, guys. So I found there's basically three flaws in the binding that are basically very easily well, one repairable, and the other one's just as reinforcement, right? But the quality of the pages, the cover of the book is in excellent condition. This, I'm going to say it for the third time. Boy, so D&D-ish, huh? Now I'm thinking D&D was original. I'm wondering, D&D was before this, and the rule books were before this, and I'm wondering if that style and the artwork style influenced Games Workshop when they were producing this at their office. Right? Very similar, because you've got different kinds of creatures and monsters that they can fight. I don't even know if this is even in the game anymore. Right? This is very Dungeons and Dragonish, where the Space Marines or whatever could encounter other types of creatures, right? Besides factions, Petra Squirrel, mimics. This is a new. I didn't even notice this when I flipped through when I first got the book. This is a big discovery here for me. I'd love to hear from you 40k fanatics out there. Is this something that still is continued, where you could have almost like RPG scenarios where you have maybe just a squad of Space Marines and they have to go through maybe a labyrinth or some type of like dungeon or some type of encounters with other types of monsters and things on strange worlds, right? And did Warhammer 40k through the 90s, when I kind of wasn't playing, did they, I think they did. I think they did have an RPG version of the game. I do believe. Rubber Moss, Spiker, Spongeweed, Venus Mantrap. Right? Creature charts. Plant charts. Oh yeah, well, guys, this reminds me of some of those old, there's an old Dungeons and Dragons where they found a crashed spaceship. You may remember that dungeon. I can't remember the name of it right off. If you know, put it in this description. I've got it over here on the shelf. I should run over and grab it. It really reminds me of that a lot. Right. All right, the advanced gamer. We get closer to the end here on our flip through, guys. The upper hand, random directions, fast dice throwing, random targeting, personalities as targets. right? So we just, you know, back in college we just did battles. We'd orcs, space marines, we'd put out some rocks, some lichen, and we would just start, you know, throwing down. Plot generator. This is interesting. Very similar to Dungeons and Dragons. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide. And I had all kinds of tables in there for random generating of scenery or terrain, or this is for plots. So you got relations between the human and alien farmers of the newly settled planet have never been good. The Imperium has promised to send forces, so you're getting a narrative. Right? One of my favorite aspects to gaming is putting out a narrative before the game starts of objectives, what's going on, the conditions, and that really helps you immerse yourself more into the game, right? Oh, there's a lot. I got a lot. Right? Okay, this is Chart 8 Raid and Capture. That says on a 2-10, you know, one's tens, one's single digits. Let's see what this. Okay, so this one is Support Rebellion. This is Raid and Destroy. This one's Raid and Kill. So like different scenarios, and you can do random game generators. That's really cool. I think that's really cool. Subplots. And here we go, some of the original game designers as younger lads. Maybe some of you will know who these guys are, and you may actually know them. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, now we're getting into the modeling section. There's your sprues, your trimmings, your old Citadel pots. Got the old Citadel flat top pots. Yeah. There we go. Various steps. Painting your Space Marine. I was never that advanced. You're lucky if I went just the prime colors, right? Not the shading. That I was not there yet. Oh, that's interesting. The different kinds of brushes for the different things are you use for your dry brushing, right? Shading. Oh, here we go. Now this is, we did a lot of this, of course, you know, pop can, you know, plastic drinking cups, things that you can turn into terrain, right? Very cool. Old packaging. Gotta be careful you can't spray some spray paints on foam, guys. I found that out a long time ago. You spray it on the foam and the foam just goes and melts. Right? So these must be some of the creators done as caricatures. I think that's pretty interesting. That's pretty nice. A lot of creativity, right? This book just oozes with creativity. Right? There you go, just some old containers, like Tupperware containers. Actually, those would be like the old, remember the old margarine containers, right? You just save those up, save your margarine containers. You could turn it into a building. Right. I'm not going to be doing a lot of that here at this table, because this is also my table that I'm going to use to build terrain. I'm going to scratch build terrain. Right. So we're coming to the end of the book. Right. Here's all the old charts are tore out. Dang it! They're gone, long gone. I remember those, and I had them in little slickies. They're that like bluish color, right? And in the back, this is a repeat of the front. Now let's go back like I promised, and let's see who we can credit some of this artwork with. Or do they list it? So we got graphic design, cover art is John Sibick, right? Models and dioramas. Miniatures designed by Kevin Adams, Nick Bibby, Mark Copplestone, Jess Goodwin, Allie Morrison, Trish Morrison, Bob Naismith, Bob Ollie, Mike and Alan Perry. There you go. Mike and Alan Perry. And original says miniatures designed by. Interesting. Models and dioramas, Land Raider model Dave Andrews. Miniatures painted by Dave Andrews, Bruce Atley, Nick Bibby, John Blanche, Colin Dixon, Mike McVeigh, Allie Morrison, Andy Pritchard, and Sid. Design Studio, play testing, tabletop. Special thanks to all, because a lot of these prints, guys, these cool prints like this one, there is, like in the Dungeons and Dragons books, you'll have the moniker of the artist, so you can, you don't have that here. And I'm looking, I'm going to look down through this again, guys. I don't see where they're giving any art credits. Just play testing, tabletop terrain, battle boards courtesy of TSS Terrain, military miniatures, 11 North Wibbitch Thames, I'm not sure, obviously someplace in the UK. Produced by the Games Workshop Design Studio. It has a whole list of names. Rick Priestley, of course, is in here. I see nothing about art, the artists for the artwork. Yeah. So there you have it, guys. The original Warhammer 40k rulebook. 3 small things I've got to fix, but you can see otherwise it's almost like near new condition. All right. It says here in the back, it says playing time 1 or more hours, whatever that means. Number of players 2 or more, age 16 to adult. Printed in the UK. 1987, Games Workshop Limited, all rights reserved. Copyright 1987. Nothing else about artists. There is no time for peace, no respite, no forgiveness. There is only war. Imperium approved. All right, thanks for coming along for the ride again today, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe, get on over to my Facebook group, Alan Smith Hobby and Wargaming. Lots of stuff getting put up over there. It's fun and interesting. See you next time. Ciao.